Did you know that St. Luke's University Health Network, based in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, has been recognized by the U.S. government as the highest performing health system in the United States for quality? You heard right. St. Luke's #1 recognition affirms our status as the top leader among the most respected healthcare providers in the nation, including Houston Methodist and the Mayo Clinic. To state it simply, if you want to receive the best care when you go to a hospital, come to St. Luke's.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast. Breaking news.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, a lot of news happening. First of all, President Trump back at the White House. He left Beijing, then they had a stopover for fuel in Alaska, and he landed at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland and is back at the White House. Lots of new news on the table, especially vis-a-vis Iran. And also, big commute issues could be on the horizon for Long Island Railroad travelers, and there are 300,000 to 400,000 of them right now as we speak. Negotiations between the MTA and union leaders are continuing as a strike could be looming in less than 2 hours. We'll do an update on that because obviously many hundreds of thousands of commuters take the Long Island Railroad every day. And certainly this would wreak havoc if indeed it does happen. But we're going to get an update and get some of the bullet points of what's at stake. Meantime, let's go back to President Trump because he spoke a lot with reporters, as he always does. I mean, he truly is the most accessible, reachable president I have ever seen. And you look at how many interviews and questions he's answered just even in the last few days. I think he's done like 20, 30 interviews while he was over in China. And he's also always going back and talking to reporters on Air Force One. Extremely accessible, answering questions about whatever topic. It is typical Trump. He is the Energizer Bunny after having a very serious round of talks with another superpower. The stakes couldn't be higher. And President Trump told reporters this is what he thought and how he views China. This is what he said just a little bit ago on Air Force One. We just got this in.
We're leading by a lot, but they're second and they're very strong. And we talked about possibly working together for guardrails.
And what kind of guardrails?
The standard guardrails that we talk about all the time. AI is fantastic. So many things can happen in terms of health and medicine and operations, everything. Military, and so many things can happen, but it's also got some drawbacks, and we're talking about we probably will. We're going to work together. We had a very good conversation about a lot of stuff.
We had a lot of good things about a lot of stuff. And yet, if you look at some of the folks in the mainstream media, they're like, oh, there wasn't really anything delivered. He went over there. He got the 200 planes for Boeing. A lot of stuff tied to rare earth minerals, a lot of stuff tied to semiconductors. Clearly, President Xi of China respects him. He got the red carpet on the way in and the way out, which is a lot different than you saw the way that Obama was treated. Remember, they had like the backdoor stairs for Obama, and then Biden, they put the little guy stairs so they could just kind of make it easy and quick and brief for him. It was a whole different ball game under President Trump, where it was like pageantry and magistry. And I mean, it was amazing when you saw just the arrival that he got and the departure he got. They had a red carpet literally on the way back to as well. And then, of course, everybody was asking what's going to happen with Iran. Now, the big things that we heard from China tonight, guys, he really started talking about some of the specifics, saying, okay, China agreed that the Strait of Hormuz should be open. China agreed that Iran should not have nukes. China agreed that there should not be tariffs on the waterway. So it seems like they're on agreement on a lot of pages. The question is, can we even trust China whatsoever? But I give President Trump credit. There are so many people out there, they're like blasting Trump. They're saying, why did he go over there? Thank goodness he's having dialogue with the other major superpowers in the world. It's important. At least he can pick up the phone, and he's not stupid. He clearly knows that China has a lot of issues, that you can't trust them, that you can't trust President Xi. You can't trust any of these people in the communist dictatorship there. There's no doubt. But he's going over there at least to calm things down. He's going over there at least to see if they can do some business deals. And I applaud him for at least trying. And every American should. Every American tonight should be wishing for incredible success from our president. And that's my message tonight here on The Rita Cosby Show. And here is President Trump. He also talked about Iran's latest proposal. And there are reports tonight that President Trump may be gearing up for some military action against Iran. That maybe something could happen as early as next week, because you could tell he is absolutely fed up with Iran. He clearly didn't want to do anything, I didn't think, before this meeting with the Chinese president because of China's relationship with Iran, didn't want to entangle it. But you could tell that he is so fed up with Iran that they're just draggling and straggling and doing whatever they can to continue to just pull this out. And they just want to keep it going. They just want to say, oh, well, we need a little more to look at line number 4. We're not sure about line 6A. We need to spend a little more time. And President Trump has their number. So here it is. He says that they offered a latest proposal. And you got to hear how he described the fact that he said as soon as he saw it, and it didn't include essentially giving up nuclear, development in any shape or form, which he clearly has said is a red line. He says, you know what? I tossed it in the old basura, meaning trash.
Have you rejected the latest proposal from Iran, or where does that stand?
Well, I looked at it, and if I don't like the first sentence, I just throw it away.
What was the first sentence?
An unacceptable sentence. Because they fully agreed, no nuclear, and if they have any nuclear of any form, I don't read the rest of it.
So 20 years is not enough for you. It's got to be a permanent.
No, 20 years is enough, but the level of guarantee from them is not enough. In other words, it's got to be a real 20 years, not a big one.
You've got to get all the fuel out and no more production.
We have to get everything, but we're not even talking about, I call it the nuclear dust. Came up with a term which seems to have brought on.
I'm not talking about because they would not remove the...
They said that they can't remove it because they don't have the technology to remove it.
Well,
they don't have the type of tractors. They say the only one, they told me directly, they said the only one that can remove it is China or the U.S. We're the only ones with the equipment. They said, you were right, it is a complete obliteration. With that being said, I want to get it. And they agreed to it, but then they took it back, but they'll agree to it eventually.
Let's see. And as you just heard, they'll agree to it eventually, whether it's by peace or by force. Of course, President Trump would very much like to see it by peace. He'd love to see if maybe China can somehow bring Iran to the bargaining table, knock some common sense in them. And if they don't, well, President Trump is going to pound them. There is no doubt about it. And also, a lot of their oil reserves now, their oil refineries, they are overflowing because they can't ship it out. They got nobody who'll pick it up on the ship out end. And everyone says we're on the verge, or they're on the verge, I should say, Iran, of a shut in, which means when you can't ship your oil out, after a while, you need to keep the oil flowing. And then some of these older tanks back up and you can't restart them again. So some of their wells could be in tremendous, tremendous problems. And this could be catastrophic for Iran.